Your feedback helps shape the next horror. What do you want to hear next? And subscribe so you don't miss the next night of nightmares. Midnight Zephyr presents. This single-chapter story, titled Shadows in the Mist, transforms the original anthology of creepy personal encounters into a unified psychological thriller narrative set in the foggy wilderness of coastal British Columbia, Canada. The genre remains true crime-inspired horror and mystery, preserving the emotional tone of isolation, mounting dread, and gut-wrenching uncertainty, while emphasizing themes of trust in strangers, the deception of remote paradises, and survival through quick thinking. The core inspiration, realizing danger in seemingly innocuous settings like campsites, villages, farms, and roads, is reimagined as a solo traveler's harrowing experience at a volunteer-run wilderness retreat, where natural elements and human malice blur into terror. All elements are original. Names, e.g., protagonist Lena, host Victor, etc. Backgrounds. Lena is a 28-year-old graphic designer from Vancouver escaping burnout. Relationships, strangers turned uneasy allies. Motivations, Lena seeks self-discovery. Antagonists driven by hidden greed and opportunism. Setting, shifted from deserts, European villages, Georgian mountains, and Louisiana swamps to misty Canadian forests and rugged coastlines. Plot structure, a linear build-up with interwoven subplots instead of episodic anecdotes. Dialogue, casual, tense Canadian English, and narrative style. First-person introspection with short, punchy sentences for narration pacing. Open with Lena narrating her decision to quit her stressful job and volunteer at Mistwood Retreat, an eco-lodge advertised online as a peaceful haven for budget travelers in British Columbia's remote Pacific Rim National Park. Describe her excitement mixed with nerves during the long ferry ride and bus journey through rain-slicked roads, building atmospheric details like endless evergreens shrouded in fog and the salty ocean scent. Introduce her backstory. Recently single after a bad breakup, she's craving adventure to rebuild confidence. Upon arrival at the isolated lodge, accessible only by a gravel path, she meets the host, Victor, a burly man in his 40s with a forced smile and alcohol-tinged breath, who claims his family is visiting town. The place is run down, overgrown gardens, sagging cabins, no other volunteers in sight despite the listing's photos of happy groups. Lena brushes off initial unease, attributing it to travel fatigue. I remember the day I decided to leave it all behind like it was yesterday. My name's Lena, and at 28, I was staring at a computer screen in my tiny Vancouver apartment, designing logos for companies I didn't care about, while my life felt like it was slipping through my fingers. The breakup with Alex had been the final straw, 6 years down the drain because he needed space. I needed space too, but not the kind you find in a crowded city. I craved something real, something that would shake me out of this numb routine. That's when I stumbled upon the ad for Mistwood Retreat online. It promised a month of volunteering in exchange for room, board, and life-changing wilderness experiences in British Columbia's Pacific Rim National Park. The photos showed cozy cabins nestled among towering cedars, volunteers laughing around a fire, and stunning views of misty coastlines. It looked perfect, cheap, adventurous, and far from everything. I applied on a whim, and 2 weeks later I was packing my backpack with rain gear, hiking boots, and a journal to document my rebirth. The journey started with a ferry from Vancouver Island. The boat rocked gently on the gray waves, and I stood on the deck, letting the salt air whip my hair. Fog hung low over the water, making the horizon disappear. It felt symbolic, like I was sailing into the unknown. After docking, I caught a bus that wound through rainforests, the road narrowing to gravel as we climbed into the hills. Trees loomed like silent giants, their branches dripping with moisture. My phone signal faded early on, which was fine. I wanted disconnection. But as the bus dropped me at a muddy pullout, with instructions to hike the last 2 kilometers up a steep path, a flicker of doubt crept in. "You're doing this for you?" I muttered, shouldering my pack and starting the trek. The path was slick, roots twisting underfoot like veins. Fog thickened, muffling sounds except for the occasional raven's caw. After what felt like hours, but was probably 40 minutes, I spotted the lodge. It emerged from the mist like a ghost, a cluster of weathered wooden buildings with mossy roofs, surrounded by overgrown gardens and dense forest. A sign creaked in the breeze. Mistwood Retreat. Welcome, wanderers. It didn't match the vibrant photos exactly. The colors were duller, the place more worn, but I chalked it up to bad lighting. A man stepped out from the main house, waving. He was in his mid-40s, stocky with a scruffy beard and eyes that crinkled at the corners, but his smile seemed a bit too wide. "You must be Lena. I'm Victor, the host." His voice had a gravelly edge, and I caught a whiff of whiskey as he shook my hand. Firm, almost too tight. "Long trip, eh? Come on in, I'll show you around." "Thanks. Yeah, it was a haul, but worth it. Where's everyone else?" The ad mentioned a family-run spot with other volunteers. He waved a hand dismissively. "Oh, the wife's in town with the kids picking up supplies, and the others? A couple more arriving tomorrow. It's quiet now, but that's the charm. Peace and nature." His English was flawless, with a faint East Coast accent, but something felt off. He led me through the grounds, pointing out the vegetable patches. "You'll help weed those. A small barn for tools, and trails leading to the beach." The ocean roared faintly in the distance, hidden by trees. My cabin was basic: a single bed, a lantern, and a wood stove. Dust motes danced in the dim light filtering through cracked windows. "Get settled. Dinner's at 6. Holler if you need anything." Victor left and I unpacked, trying to ignore the musty smell. I found an old photo album under the bed, faded pictures of a smiling family picnicking, but none looked like Victor. Weird, but maybe previous owners. I shook it off and headed out to explore. That afternoon I met Miriam. She appeared on the path like she'd materialized from the fog, an older woman in her 60s, with silver hair tied back and a weathered face that spoke of years outdoors. Her dog, a shaggy mutt named Rusty, bounded ahead, sniffing everything. "You the new volunteer?" she called, her voice carrying a warm lilt. "I'm Miriam, live down the shore a ways, trade veggies with Victor sometimes." "Yeah, Lena, nice to meet you. This place is remote." She chuckled. "That's an understatement. Been coming here for years. Watch the mist. It swallows sounds, plays tricks on your ears. Old stories say spirits wander these woods, sighing like lost souls." Her eyes twinkled, but there was an edge to her words. We chatted as she handed over a basket of berries. She mentioned local traditions, like night hikes to test your nerve against the elements. "Builds character," she said. Rusty licked my hand, and for a moment, the place felt welcoming. As evening fell, the fog rolled in thicker, blanketing the lodge. I helped Victor prep dinner, simple stew from the garden. He was chatty, sharing tales of building the retreat from scratch after leaving a city job. "Needed the quiet," he said. But his eyes darted, and he poured himself a drink more than once. No sign of family. After eating, I retired early, exhausted. The cabin creaked in the wind, and rain pattered on the roof. I drifted off to the sound of waves crashing far below. I woke around midnight to a strange noise. It was metallic, like something heavy being dragged across wood. Groggy, I listened. Scrape, pause, scrape. It came from outside, maybe the barn. "Probably an animal," I whispered, pulling the blanket tighter. The fog outside was impenetrable, no stars, just blackness. It stopped after a few minutes and I fell back asleep, uneasy. Morning brought drizzle. Victor was grumpy, nursing a coffee. "Fix those cabin doors today," he grunted, avoiding eye contact. "Gotta run to town for parts." He left in an old truck, rumbling down the path. Alone, I wandered the grounds. The barn was padlocked, but through a gap I saw rusted tools and cages, empty but odd for an eco-lodge. The gardens were neglected, weeds choking the beds. I pulled some, my mind wandering to home. That's when Jake arrived. He hiked up the path, backpack slung over one shoulder, looking every bit the rugged adventurer, tall with messy brown hair and a friendly grin. "Hey, you must be Lena. Jake, from Toronto. Saw the ad, needed a break from the grind. Same here. Glad for company. Victor's out, but he mentioned more folks coming. We bonded quickly, sharing stories over lunch. Jake was 30, a former park ranger turned freelancer, skilled with maps and survival gear. This place looks rougher than the pics, he noted. But hey, adventure, right? We spent the afternoon repairing trails, clearing fallen branches. Miriam stopped by again, Rusty in tow. Good to see young blood. Victor's been struggling since his wife left. Wait, he didn't mention? Rough divorce, I think. Her words hung, adding to my growing doubt. As dusk fell, Victor returned, truck loaded with supplies. He seemed evasive, muttering about delays. That night, the group grew. 4 locals showed up. Derek, a massive guy with tattoos and a scowl, plus his buddies, Slim, shifty-eyed Kyle, Quiet, watchful Ben, and loudmouth Pete. They claimed to be helping Victor with heavy lifting, but their eyes lingered on me and Jake. Fresh faces, eh? Derek boomed, his voice like thunder. Welcome to the wild side. Dinner was tense. They joked roughly, passing a flask. Victor laughed along, but I caught him exchanging glances with Derek. After, as we cleaned up, Jake whispered, "Something's off with those guys. Stay close." Sleep came fitfully. Around 2 a.m., the dragging noise returned louder, closer to my cabin. I sat up, heart pounding. Then a sigh, deep, human-like, from just outside the wall. I froze, straining to listen. Footsteps? Slow, deliberate. My mind raced. Bear? Or something worse? I thought of Miriam's spirits, but this felt real. The sigh came again, chilling me to the bone. I squeezed my pillow, wishing for someone to signal. The noise faded, but sleep evaded me. Next day, tension simmered. Victor announced a courage challenge to break the ice, a game where we'd hunt hidden items in the forest, guarded by watchers with flashlights. Tradition around here, he said. Winner gets bragging rights. The locals grinned, volunteering as guardians. Jake and I teamed with Miriam, who joined for fun. Keeps the blood pumping, she said. As sunset, fog enveloped the woods. We split, Miriam and Jake to distract, me to sneak for the golden prize, a marked rock in a clearing. The air was thick, visibility low. I crouched behind ferns, watching shapes move. Laughter echoed, then shouts as my team drew the guardians away. I dashed forward but paused. A figure lurked behind a tree, not one of ours. Crouched, observing. My stomach dropped. Another hiker appeared. Sarah, a young woman who'd arrived that morning, bubbly and solo like me. She searched the clearing, whispering to herself. The figure shot out, grabbing her leg as she climbed a low branch. She yelped, "What the? Oh God, no!" He clamped a hand over her mouth, dragging her into shadows. I froze, horror rooting me. Her muffled cries faded as an engine revved. Not a car, but a boat on the shore below. Smuggling? My mind screamed. I backed away, heart hammering, and ran into Jake. "We have to help," I gasped. We rushed back, but the storm hit. Winds howling, rain turning to ice pellets. The lodge roof groaned under weight. Inside, Victor was gone. The locals, too. We found cages in the barn, some with small animals like martens labeled for export. "This isn't eco-volunteering," Jake muttered. "It's a front." Panic rose. We called 911 on Jake's satellite phone, but dispatch warned of delays due to weather. "Stay put." No way. As we packed, the locals returned, blocking the path. Derek leered. "Leaving so soon, little miss? Got some special stuff to sell? Herbs from the woods? Come on, try it." They advanced, surrounding us. Fear weakened my knees. I remembered the cages. Grabbing one, I released a pine marten, furry, hissing, claws out. It lunged at Derek, scratching his arm. Chaos erupted, screams, curses. They backed off, scrambling. "Crazy bitch," Pete yelled as they fled to their truck. We grabbed valuables, dashed into the fog. Ice crunched underfoot. Hours later, we hit a road flagging a minivan, a family on vacation. "Need help?" the dad asked. They drove us to town, kind strangers in the night. Weeks later, back in Vancouver, police reported the lodge abandoned, tents and gear left like ghosts. Sarah, Missing, but a note found. I got out but watched the mist. No arrests. I tried moving on, journaling it all. But tonight, walking home, fog rolling in from the harbor, I saw a shadow across the street. A man, burly, watching. As I quickened pace, a whisper carried, "The mist follows you." My blood ran cold. Was it over? Or just beginning?